On the night of December 14th, 2025, the Brentwood home of Rob Reiner, the legendary director behind Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, and When Harry Met Sally, became the scene of a shocking end. Rob and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, were found dead, a tragedy that stunned Hollywood and left a once celebrated life under a harsh, unflinching light. Behind the acclaim, the laughter, and the timeless films, Reiner had quietly battled fractures in his personal life that no career or fortune could mend. Rob Reiner was born on March 6, 1947, in the Bronx, New York, into a family already steeped in the pressures of fame. His father, Carl Reiner, would become a comedy legend, while his mother, Estelle, carried warmth and an understanding of the spotlight's darker side. From childhood, Rob absorbed storytelling, timing, and the unspoken expectations of a family where every name carried weight. When the family moved to Los Angeles at 13, Rob entered the heart of Hollywood, where his father's shadow loomed large and comparison became inevitable. Early in his career, Reiner took small television roles, observing the inner workings of Hollywood with quiet discipline. He understood that his path would require patience, careful study, and an ability to control outcomes from behind the scenes. The turning point arrived in 1971 with All in the Family, where Reiner's role as Michael Meathead Stevis placed him at the center of cultural debates about race, gender, and politics. Emmy Awards followed, but more importantly, he learned how entertainment could convey ideas subtly, a lesson that shaped every film thereafter. Reiner eventually moved from the camera to the director's chair, beginning with This Is Spinal Tap, 1984, a low-budget mockumentary that grew into a cult classic. He mastered the delicate balance between comedy, emotion, and social commentary in films like Stand By Me, 1986, The Princess Bride, 1987, and When Harry Met Sally, 1989, creating work that was simultaneously accessible, humane, and deeply reflective. A Few Good Men, 1992, confirmed his ability to tackle power and morality on a grand scale, while co-founding Castle Rock Entertainment expanded his influence behind the scenes, shaping which stories reached audiences and which voices were amplified. Yet for all his public success, Reiner faced struggles the spotlight could not touch. His son, Nick Reiner, born in 1993, grew up in a household of immense privilege, but also immense expectation. The weight of two legendary names, Carl and Rob Reiner, cast a long shadow. Nick battled addiction from a young age, entering rehab 17 times, drifting in and out of stability. Rob, a master storyteller and director, realized with painful clarity that he could control scripts and scenes but could not direct his son's life. He brought his anguish to the screen with Being Charlie, attempting to understand what was unfolding in his family, yet knowing that love alone was not enough. Rob's personal losses were compounded by the death of his father and the slow fading of Hollywood's golden era. He had spent decades shaping stories, guiding actors, and crafting worlds where justice, humor, and human decency prevailed. But life offered no script for parenting a son in crisis or coping with mortality's harsh realities. He faced each challenge with quiet honesty, refusing to romanticize or rationalize what could not be fixed. Even his wealth and properties, carefully curated over decades, the Beverly Hills estate, Malibu oceanfront home, Brentwood retreat, and a symbolic car collection, could not shield him from private tragedy. Assets that once symbolized control and privacy became silent witnesses to the fragility of life and the limits of influence. Rob Reiner's legacy is not measured merely in box office returns or awards. It lies in his belief that decency matters, that human connection matters, and that cinema can explore conscience, dialogue, and moral complexity without resorting to spectacle. His greatest story, however, was the one he lived, a life of creativity, empathy, and courage in the face of loss, where he accepted helplessness as part of being human. When Rob Reiner passed, he left no perfect legend, only the image of a man who tried, in every way he could, to live according to his principles, even when the cost was unbearable. In that, his true legacy endures, not in the films he directed, but in the integrity with which he lived his own story to its final chapter.